Hello, everyone. Welcome to Film Frauds, where myself, Matt, and my two co-hosts, Tyler and Mark, give our completely unprofessional and 100% biased opinions on movies of today, tomorrow, and yesteryear. And today, per my recommendation, we are talking about one of my favorite movies of the decade, that is Calvary. And I'm going to let my co-host speak soon, but I'm just going to go first because I've did this movie 3 times now. I saw Calvary a couple of years ago, and I loved it. It's written and directed by John Michael McDonagh, who's the brother of Martin McDonagh, who you might know as from In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, and most recently, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And I had very little expectations going into this. I think I saw Chris Duncan's review, and he gave it like a B. He was like, he liked it, but not as much as like, he didn't think it was like a masterpiece or anything.
You remember what he didn't like about it? I'm trying to think.
He said he thought, like, he kind of said the mystery wasn't there. I'm like, it's not really a mystery movie.
It's not really a mystery, no. Okay.
So I saw this and I was blown away. And then I watched it again a couple years later with my parents, and we all loved it too. And then I wanted to watch it again, so I recommended it for this podcast. Having now spent, a semester in Ireland, I wanted to rewatch it and see if I understood more about it. And having taken a class about his brother Martin McDonagh, I kind of want to see if I could pick up more things when I rewatch it. And yeah, I'd say I picked up on more, having me more experience with the culture, and I love this movie even more the 3rd time I've seen it. Mark, what did you think of Calvary?
I really liked it.
Good.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff I may have missed out on in terms of. I feel like this is a movie like chock full of symbolism and specifically frame shots that are, telling, some sort of story. And I didn't really pick up on that until maybe about halfway through, and I was like, oh, I should be paying more attention. I mean, I was paying attention, but like,
Mark,
I was like,
Mark was
okay.
on his phone the whole first half.
I was not on my phone. I was not on my phone. I was just sort of like, trying to absorb the story and just see like, okay, what's this about? Because I didn't know anything going in. I just knew that Brendan Gleeson was in this thing, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize. I thought it was cavalry, like a horse cavalry.
Yeah.
But like the title's actually Calvary.
Calvary.
As in the place where Jesus was crucified.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that. Like halfway through, I was like, what does this have to do with like horses?
Yeah.
So I looked it up.
I think Calvary,
Oh my
Calvary,
God.
Cavalry so many times trying to find this movie, and it hasn't worked out.
I went to look on it.
Just to preface. Oh, I'm sorry.
I went to look it on Amazon, and I was like, this movie doesn't exist. And I looked at it online, and I was like, no, it exists. And then I looked on Amazon. It was a struggle. Yeah.
Tyler, this is the 2nd time you've seen the movie, right?
Yeah. So I watched this. So this is one of the few movies that you recommended over and over and again that I got around to watching. I finally did it a couple years ago. And when I watched it a few years ago, I liked it. Like, I didn't really think much of it. I clearly didn't think much of what the messages the movie's trying to get across. I just went, it's a really well acted and well shot movie. And then I came back to it, and this movie's really great. It's really, really great. I don't think it's perfect.
Okay.
I have 1 or 2 small issues with it, but they're kind of closer to nitpicks. I want to talk about it with you guys. But this is a damn fine movie. And it's also a really weird movie from the director. Yeah. Mark, have you seen any other John Michael McDonagh movies? He's directed The Guard, which came out in 2011, and a movie called War on Everyone, which came out in 2016. No.
That's the first.
Matt, you and I have seen all of his movies.
Yeah.
This is a weird movie for him.
It is strange. Well, I'd say War on Everyone is like the anomaly out of them, because even though it's more in line tonally with The Guard, it's just so terrible.
Oh, it's
that
awful.
I was shocked when I watched it. But yeah, I watched The Guard too. I'd seen War on Everyone years ago because I saw Calvary. I'd seen Calvary, and I was like, this movie's great. And I wanted to watch War on Everyone, his newest movie, and I was shocked by how bad it was. But I watched The Guard a couple of days ago because Tyler recommended it, and I'm like, this movie's great as well, and also has Brendan Gleeson in it too.
I think there's a lot to love about Calvary, and I think The Guard is. I don't want to turn this into like a director series for John Michael McDonagh, but I think it's a really interesting case of looking at his movies. The Guard is a case study, and a really great one of that of like textbook nihilism, and kind of imploring that with kind of like slightly over the top dark comedic aspects. Cavalry, I was looking at what the kind of genre of this movie is, and it labels it as a dark comedy, and I don't necessarily agree with that.
There's like one like purposely funny interaction, I would say, in the whole movie.
There are so this is one of my criticisms, and I can kind of just quickly, but there are two characters in this movie that I think stand out, and I'm unsure of their purpose in the story.
Yeah.
Maybe
Do you want to just go into spoilers? Like, do you
we can. I mean, the movie. Yeah, we can talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, because this movie kind of has to be talked about with spoilers.
Yeah, because it's all discussion based. So
So this
yeah.
movie basically is an exploration in kind of talking about the multiple different aspects of kind of religion. You have kind of sin, guilt, death, exploring all that, and through those kind of each avenues, you talk to a different character. It's kind of those each things. There are two that stand out to me that I question why they're in the movie. It's Milo, who has that one kind of dark comedic where he's like, I've explored all my options with porn. He's like, I'm on transsexual porn. It's funny.
What do you want to know? Hermaphrodites,
yeah.
chicks with dicks.
It's funny because John Michael McDonough can write funny dialogue.
Yeah.
But I don't know the purpose of it. And then there's hey, Leo Goodtime, who's this weird like diversion from this like somber, and everyone is just so like cynical in this community. And then this guy comes there, he's like, hey, a lot of people like me. And it's like, is it a statement on kind of like homophobia or within the church? It's a weird kind of, I think those two characters, whenever they kind of like muddle what the movie's about.
Yeah, I would say Milo's scene, I think it's obviously funny and it's totally inconsistent with the rest of the movie, but I think the actor does a good job of making the character seem pretty realistic that I was okay with it. Like, so I neglected to like give like a brief synopsis of like the plot at the start.
It's really important.
It's basically about, it's not important. It's basically the movie starts with Father James, who's Brendan Gleeson, is in listening to confessions, and a guy comes in and says, I was molested by a priest when I was younger, and I need to kill an innocent priest in order to feel some sort of justification, some sort of vindication for what the crimes that happened to me. In the movie, he says, "I'll give you a week to get everything together before I kill you." So the movie says his week of just living his life. He knows who is trying to kill him, but he's not going to do anything about it.
Does he?
Yeah, he says when he talks to the archbishop, he says he's like, do you know who did it? He's like, I'm pretty sure I know who did it.
Doesn't he later go back and he's like, yeah, I don't know who did it?
I don't remember.
I think there's a scene
he
where
does. There's a second. There's two meetings with the archbishop, but I feel like he could be lying.
Yeah,
because like the first time he seemed like he was pretty convinced, and then during the this like the final confrontation, he doesn't seem very surprised. But so the Milo scene is purposely comedic, but I thought I enjoyed it because I thought it had to do at least with the plot. It was talking about sins, it's talking about killing, which is one of the 7 deadly sins, and he's talking about joining the army, and he's like, there's a great line where he's like, oh, killing's not okay. There's not, on the 10 Commandments, there's not an asterisk next to thou shalt not kill, directing to all the instances where it's okay to kill.
Yep.
And he goes, what about self-defense? He goes, oh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
And then with the what was the prostitute's name again?
Oh, Leo Goodtime.
Yeah. So like he was molested as well. So I think that he's just dealing with horrible psychological damage.
Leo Goodtime was molested in the movie?
Yeah,
he
says when he's playing pool. He says
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's talking about a bishop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Mark, did you have similar problems with these characters, or do you think that?
No, I don't have any problems with these characters because I think there's many of them, and they're to highlight the theme of it's a movie about faith, and I think I don't have a problem with any of the characters. I'm just sort of unsure exactly what the main point is, because it's like, here's all this bad stuff that the church has done, but like I think it's also saying like these people are without faith and they're sort of lost. I feel like it's like these two different things, and I'm not sure which point it's trying to make me go to, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. So the movie is nebulous. It's very nebulous. So he deals with all these characters, and then some characters he leaves a lasting impact on. They find new value in life, and then others he says, like with Milo, he's like, don't join the army. And at the end, he joins the army.
Yeah.
So the movie's purposely nebulous, and I would say the movie is about the the blowback of the sex scandals across the world, and specifically how it affected Ireland, and specifically how it affects small Irish communities and priests. So I compare this movie to Spotlight a lot when I think about it.
That's a good
I think this
comparison.
movie is much better than Spotlight. I think Spotlight's only purpose is to slam dunk on the Catholic Church. I think this movie is
Well,
more
Spotlight
human.
was based on true events regarding the Boston Globe or the Herald's uncovering of the scandal. And
Yeah.
I feel like at that point, it's kind of going to dunk on the Catholic Church more. We should also
Yeah.
preface this is going to be a very religious. We should preface this at the beginning.
Yeah.
Very religious. We all went to a Catholic high school together.
Mm.
We have some understanding of religion, but I don't think any of us are very religious people.
No, I mean,
so we should like.
yeah.
We're not insulting any religions. We're not
doing zealots or anything.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
just
not
saying
zealots.
that like Spotlight handles it very black and white. It's very one-sided. It's like it's the newspaper's good, and what they were doing was a good thing. But I like Calvary more because it shows the complexities of the issue. It's like there's this good priest, and he's walking down the street and he sees a little girl. He starts talking to him, and all of a sudden the father comes by and assumes the worst and is yelling at the guy. And just to clarify, like I wrote down these statistics, like Ireland was completely ravaged by these uncoverings. Just in Dublin alone, between 1975 and 2004, there were 320 cases of sexual abuse done by the clergy. And in 1994, there was a priest in Belfast who was convicted of 141 accounts of sexual abuse. So obviously terrible things happened during this time.
Oh my God.
But I just love this movie because it shows how the priest is dealing with it, and how this issue killed like a sense of spirituality within Irish communities. Like you see it with like Littlefinger's character, who is a doctor, and he's completely lost. He's completely cynical. He's completely nihilistic. But in a way, he's not nihilistic because he's taking care of people because he's a doctor.
Do you like that moment, that story he gives? He's like, this kid lost all his senses, and you can't call out, and you can't move, and Brendan Gleeson's like, why the fuck would you tell me that?
Yeah, and he's just telling him specifically to challenge his faith, and it's crazy. And I just want to know, did you guys think this movie was like idealizing like Catholicism at all, or did you think that it was handling like this horrible, this horrible scandal like with levity and weight?
I think this movie, because John Michael McDonough has gone on record, and you probably already know this, by saying he wants to make a movie about a good priest.
Yeah,
and
Brendan Gleeson said the same thing in his interviews as well. It's about a good priest. Yeah,
it's just about a good priest, and that's the thing is I don't know much about John Michael McDonough's belief with religion, but there is a definite kind of understanding of the horrors that the Catholic Church committed, but wanting to shine a light, an anti-spotlight, as you would probably throw it out, on what exactly happens to the people who are not these horrible monsters. And like you've been saying before, it's an exploration of that in that community of the people in this small town in Ireland.
Yeah,
is the public reaction. People basically belittle him. They make fun of him. They kind of question him all the time. They challenge his authority and say, wow, like you have to get your authority. You have to humble yourself. And it's kind of this constant barrage. So in a sense, it feels like a response to like a movie like Spotlight, even though Spotlight technically came out a year after.
Yeah,
it feels like.
I mean, Spotlight's not the first movie to cover these kind of grounds either. So
it feels like this movie was made by a religious man who wanted to show the good that religion still does. Yeah, and I think that is evident because of the whole point of this.
But
movie.
Also like the gray area where things don't really make sense in religion as well. It's not like God's not dead.
Well, he has that one line where he's like, he talks about the limit of God's mercy. We're earlier in the movie there's not an asterisk next to killing, and he's like, what about self-defense? He's like, but then he has the line, the limit of God's mercy has yet to be defined.
Yeah.
Wonderful gray area kind of moment. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff in this movie in terms of themes. We forgot to mention a main point of the movie is him reuniting with his daughter.
Yeah.
And she survives a suicide attempt. So
she cuts the wrong way.
Yeah, she cuts. That was a very funny joke. He's like, I already did the bit, where she's like, you got to cut up. Yeah. So that you explore how suicide's viewed in that kind of religion and that whole aspect, but morphing it into a way in which Brendan Gleeson, Father James, and his daughter can heal. That's
Yeah.
really kind of wonderful. And this
Yeah.
movie is ripe with well-defined and kind of understandable characters. Characters that you can have you empathize with why they act the way they do.
Yeah.
I mean, Aidan Gillian's character, or Littlefinger, is this cynical, atheist, like nihilistic, just kind of like a dick.
Yeah.
But you understand that's way because he witnesses the horrors of every day. And
Yeah.
he's like, he doesn't have faith anymore, mainly because you could have that one story as an example, like there was a God, why would he let this happen to a kid? It's a whole kind of gray area. That's what I
Yeah.
really love about the movie.
Do you agree with us, Mark, or do you think they handle the subject matter well?
I think that the subject matter is handled very well, given how touchy it is.
Yeah. Literally touchy.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of processing it because I finished it about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So this is a
I
movie that
finished it
really
again
makes
tonight.
me-
It's gonna like walk around my house just to blow up some steam.
Yeah.
I'm still like kind of processing it
Yeah.
because this is like there's so much going on in this film, even though like narratively there really isn't.
Yeah.
There's so much like things you need to think about, and I'm not even like 100% sure on like certain aspects of the film, how I
Yeah.
feel, but I know that like this is something that I will much greater appreciate it on further viewings. There's
Yeah.
so much going on, as I've said like 3 times.
I would definitely
So-
recommend, Mark, that you watch The Guard, John Michael
The
McDonough's
Guard.
first movie, because one, it's his first team up, and you can kind of see a growing passion that John Michael McDonough has for Brendan Gleeson as an actor, because in The Guard, his character is very much a one kind of dynamic character. He's nihilistic, he's sarcastic, and that's kind of it. But in this one, he lets Brendan Gleeson kind of like really act and explore a character.
He gets more character growth like later on
In The Guard,
In The Guard, yeah.
but nothing that compares
Nothing
to
that compares to Calvary.
Calvary. I keep saying Cavalry. Nothing that compares to Calvary.
Calvary.
Oh my God. I would definitely recommend it. Don Cheadle's in The Guard.
Yeah, he's great in it as well.
Yeah. There's a bunch of. I just want to throw out there that the Coen Brothers' first movie, The Blood Simple, the main villain is in this movie. He's the old man and the writer.
Yeah.
And I know you guys haven't. I don't know if you guys have seen Blood Simple, but he started talking, and I was like, "Whoa!" It's like, what the hell? There's a lot of like really. This movie is very Irish too, and it's not just because it's set in Ireland. It's like John Michael McDonough does not hold back on Irish accents, and that also might be a turnoff for some people because there are times where it is a little difficult to understand what they're saying. It's not in a bad way; it's just because of their accents.
Even for me, it was difficult to understand it at times because like Dublin kind of has like the more understandable accent, but and like when my parents came up to visit me one week, we were talking to like a waiter, and I was talking to the waiter like casually, and then when the waiter left, they were like, "Did you understand anything that she was saying?" I'm like, "Yeah, like no problem."
Yeah.
But so I want to talk about how great John Michael McDonough is really quickly, because he says that he wants to film movies in Ireland, specifically like out west, because Calvary is filmed in County Sligo, which is in like the northwest of Ireland, and then The Guard is filmed in Galway, which is like north central, sort of getting more south.
Where's War on Everyone filmed?
In the U.S.
Not in Ireland.
He said in an interview that like the golden age of cinema in American cinema, he said that when filmmakers and producers stop filming in LA, New York, he says that in Irish movies are always filmed in Dublin. He wants to start, showing different sides of Dublin in film. Yeah. It's different sides of Ireland in film, which I kind of appreciate. So yeah, and it kind of makes more sense for it to be in a small town, because you normally associate small towns with being more religious, being more like isolated from society.
Yep.
So I kind of like that, and you definitely get that small community sense. Like, it was in a city, like each individual. If it was filmed in a city, each individual character would feel more small. Whereas when it's in the community, it's like, oh, like there's like the doctor, there's the bartender.
Yeah.
So I kind of appreciate that aspect of it. My next talking point is: was there a side character that you guys liked the most, like that you liked Father James's conversations with the most, or found most relatable?
There was a point I really like and I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but the other priest. I don't remember his name.
Oh,
but he
yeah,
is
the accountant.
the accountant. Why is you bloody accountant or whatever he says? It's and like it's some firm. There is, well, that priest is kind of what I feel like modern, kind of like a contemporary understanding of a priest is. He's
Yeah.
someone who is kind of out of touch. He doesn't really seem to know what he's doing. He's kind of the joke that everyone thinks he is. Like,
Yeah.
people think in this movie that Father James or Brendan Gleeson is a joke, but he's not. But it's actually this other guy. There's this great where he's like racist. He's
Yeah.
and
Oh, because like it's like the guy's from New Guinea or something.
Yeah.
And he's some of those African countries, and goes New
Yeah.
Guinea's from is in South America.
Yeah, he's like, no,
It's
it's
like,
not.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
Yeah, I did really well in geography, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, so he's not humble,
No.
and it's kind of what you expect an actual priest to be. He's kind of what is it? He's materialistic. When he's offered money, he's like, oh my god, he's like, wow, that like it seems to go past like humbleness for a generation for a donation, whereas just like, oh my god, I'm getting money.
Yeah.
Kind of one of those things. He is what I feel like contemporary media has made up to be a priest, and he's
Yeah.
in direct contrast with Brendan Gleeson's character. He was at least the most interesting part to me. I don't know if Mark, if you had a different one, or you guys either, both.
Marco.
I'm still thinking about it.
All right,
There's a lot of
I'll go,
characters.
so I'll
There's
go
a lot
while
of
you're
characters.
thinking.
There's one thing I have on the top of my head here
Yeah.
that now I've just been thinking about the past like 30 seconds. I feel like the best way to summarize this film, maybe to put in one sentence, is quoting the wife, the recent widow in the movie. It's like those who have a faith crisis never had much of a faith to begin with, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's sort of like one of the main points of the film. Like, that's how I'm sort of interpreting it as,
Yeah.
that's how I felt the past couple minutes, at least.
Yeah.
It's
Because I'm thinking about like that priest. He's reading the God Delusion at the end. Richard
Yeah.
Dawkins, and then
Matt, when you're
all the
talking
characters have, they're like, oh, Father, I'm having a crisis of faith. It's like everybody but Brendan Gleeson's character.
I can see, Matt, when you talk and when I talk, I look at Mark and you can still see he's processing the movie. He'll often stare. And he's just like,
we'll get to the ending soon enough.
We'll get to
so
the ending soon.
I love these kind of movies.
We'll be getting to Hallmark scenes pretty quickly, pretty
What
soon.
do you guys? This movie's like very beautifully shot too, and that I forgot how well shot this movie is.
And I don't think it had a very big budget either.
I have that in the guessing game. How much this movie cost?
We'll get to that.
This is John Michael McDonagh's by far his best shot movie, because as good as The Guard is narratively, it's
you don't
not
get the shots that you get in because you get like that in County Sligo, there's like that giant hill that you get, and then like on like the rocks, and then like that scene where he's on the cliffs.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
I'm assuming there's some hidden meaning with the fact that there's that one flat top mountain in the back, and whenever it's framed, it's looming over Brendan Gleeson's character. Brendan Gleeson's never like framed lower.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that has some kind of like religious connotation, like the weight of God looking over.
It might have like legitimate historical religious significance, but I know it's like a famous site in that area too. So maybe just the addition to the significance, it's also like a really iconic location in that county.
Because there was a couple shots where the shot's framed and Brendan Gleeson and I think his daughter are often on the right side of the frame, and then the mountain's just dead center in the left, and they're sharing the screen equally. And every time that came up, I went, that means something. I don't know what it means though. And then I didn't look it up because I'm very lazy.
Yeah.
So I also assume.
I noticed all the scenes that were shot like sort of at the cliff. I don't know what lens they were using, but it was kind of evident that they're like, oh, they've changed. This is a different lens from what they shot the previous scene. I don't know. I just felt like there was some sort of specific lens choice for these outdoor walks with his daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know what they meant. See, that's what I meant. Like, this is so much full of stuff that needs to be dissected.
It's
Mark's so confused,
like,
he hit his mic in frustration.
It definitely feels like how when Woody Allen made Manhattan, how it's very clearly a love letter to Manhattan. This very much feels like a love letter to Ireland. You get kind of the beauty of the nature in all its shots, and how just everything looks kind of like photorealistic, like you'd see on a postcard. But that's just the daily, like even the buildings.
That's what Ireland looks like. That's what the west of Ireland
does it really?
Like. It's honestly like I spent a couple days in Killarney, which is out west, and also in Galway, and it's just like it's so green. Like it's just impossibly green. Like honestly, the movie does capture it, but also like when you're there, it looks as good and sometimes better than when you're watching in the film. But it's not a postcard. It's legitimately how it looks like.
And again, like I don't want to keep comparing his other movies, but The Guard very feels much like a response to like what small town life in Ireland is like when you have this small community and you kind of feel that monotony and how that kind of grinds on you. And this one kind of gets rid of it and goes, look at the beauty of this community, despite how cynical the characters are and how they constantly contrast with the protagonist. It's just like it feels like an admiration of the world, and I think I that's what I really kind of love and respect about this movie more than any of his other movies. I think I wish this movie kind of had a bit of a better score. The score is not really anything like stand off in this movie. Like there's nothing like that captures the scenery that well. I don't know. Mark, do you have any points that you didn't like about the movie, or you, Matt? Do you have any faults with the movie, or?
I don't really have any faults with it. I would just briefly, my favorite interactions are with like the American writer guy, because like, he's like the only guy who actually gets, one of the few people who actually learned something from the priest. Like when you first meet him, he's like, can you get me a gun? So like commit suicide. Yeah. And then like in like the last meeting, he's like, oh, how's your book? He's like, oh, it's great. And then he's like looking out. He's like eating his like ice cream, whatever. He's like looking out the park bench. He just looks like he's found like more. He's like revived his like his love of life, which you kind of appreciate.
Yeah, it's that whole like I bet your book's gonna be great, and it just kind of feels like he's never heard that before. Yeah, it's a lovely thing. There's also the interaction with the rich guy, the rich person in town, who seems like who has that moment at the end where he kind of divulges his life, and he seems like he wants to be better. And like there's that moment where you can't, because should we get to the ending? Because
that's gonna be like my hallmark scene is the ending. Let's go do. Okay, my hallmark scene is the ending of the movie. Tyler, go.
I have a little bit of an issue with the ending scene of the movie. Okay.
That's honestly like my favorite ending scene to any like movie.
Okay. Mark, did you like the end? Okay, we should spoil that. Earlier in the movie, there's a couple, this girl, I can't remember her name, and a guy named Jack. And because there is this kind of like somewhat pseudo mystery where the whole point of it isn't who it is, but it doesn't matter, but they never reveal until the end. And it's this guy named Jack, and Jack goes through with what he says, and he kills Brendan Gleeson's character.
Played by Chris O'Dowd.
Chris O'Dowd, who is in Cloverfield Paradox. I don't know why I know that, but I just want to let you know. He's the guy in Cloverfield Paradox.
The arm is right in something.
Yeah. Mark, do you like the ending scene?
Yeah, I do. The one part that I don't know if I say I didn't like it. I just thought it was maybe odd, is when the gun's put to his head, and then the camera cuts to a different angle, and it's put to his head again, and then it shoots, and then it's a different angle, and it's slow motion. He gets shot. I don't know if I hated that. I just was like, oh, okay, that's weird. But I felt like it would have, it would have been.
It's dramatic.
Maybe not shock value, but if he just pulled his gun out and shot him, I'd be like, oh.
Okay. That's okay. Matt and I are gonna end up debating this. That movie, you know how when Spike Lee makes a movie and he'll often have interactions that repeat, like in The Five Bloods, which we all watch, and you can check out our review for it on our channel. It's a great review. It's actually
a great review.
It was but oftentimes when the characters are embracing that movies, you see their hugs and their handshakes from multiple different angles. This one feels like the same. It basically is. It's a technique I feel like that's used to hammer home the point. Look at look at this interaction. Look at the amount of times these characters interact. They're very close. This one is supposed to sell this dramatic moment. It feels like the ending. It is the ending of a story. It's the ending of a journey of a good man. But it also feels like it betrays a little bit the tone of the movie, which is this realistic implication of what happens with the kind of clergy sex scandal, and over dramatizing it by showing multiple angles in a big blood splatter. I feel like betrayed how realistic this movie is slightly.
What's not realistic about it? When you got shot in the head, your brains explode. Yeah, but they don't. But
I wish what Mark happened where it's just one quick thing, boom, dead, and that's it. And that's.
But you're supposed to feel bad. You're not gonna feel bad. If
no, I would feel bad, slowly. But it's not tonally in line with the rest of the movie.
What's not totally in line with it?
It's the rest of the movie.
It's a gritty movie, and the protagonist gets shot in the head in cold blood.
But they cut and over dramatized it. It's not
It's a
a bad.
religious movie. It's
It's
called
not a
Calvary.
bad-
It's literally the name of where Jesus was crucified.
Well, maybe it's not in the.
Mark,
I
help
think it's
me.
in the fact. I think it's in the fact
Help me,
that
Mark.
you see the action twice. I think
Yeah.
if it was in slow motion, that could have like hammered the point in, but without sort of jarring.
It's not
you a
twice.
bit.
It's 3 times. It cuts 3
It's-
different angles.
It's
You don't
it's a
see the
little.
brains
I
explode
think
3 different times, right?
No, you see the
I'm not.
shot though.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm not. I'm undecided as right now. But I would say it's distracting.
I think it's just.
It
I
took
think
me away. It pulled me out a little bit.
It
but
did
I
too, and that's
still
my
love
biggest
the
thing.
scene.
It took me out of the movie.
So-
It's this engrossing tale of kind of a man, and he goes through life, and it's well acted, and it's phenomenal, and then it takes me out of the movie right at the end. I
That's the best part of
understand.
the whole movie.
Mark, what's your homework scene? Because I have mine.
It's sort of. It's not exactly a scene. It's like a sequence. It's when he's going on the plane to Dublin, and then he's standing like on the staircase. He looks over and he sees like the airport worker like leaning over the casket.
Yep.
And then it cuts to him driving in his car. Camera's
Yep.
on him for like 30, 40 seconds. And then it's just like him back in his bed.
Yep.
And then he gets up, he puts on his, priest robes, and then he just stands and then he says his prayer, and then he gets up and he just stands and he's just like looking at the bed.
Yep.
And then he goes to the beach. Like I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I have a couple. The first scene of the movie, lovely. Loved it.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
The interaction before the gunshot.
Oh yeah, I think we should talk more in depth about that whole final like 5 minutes. But
Yeah. I do have a question though before we talk about that. Who killed his dog? Do you?
The guy with the bat apparently. I have to look it up.
He's the one who killed the dog.
I think so. I couldn't put the name. Wait, I'm gonna look it up.
It's the bar owner with the because I was
I
wondering.
think you see like something. Wait, I read some detail, but I looked and then I tried to find it while watching the movie and I couldn't find it.
Okay. Yeah. No, my homework scene. I also have the one. It's not necessarily a scene, but the church burning down. There's that wonderful shot with the church is up and it's framed behind Brendan Gleeson and he's just kind of silhouetted in the fire. And it's kind of one of those like from Skyfall, which I rewatched recently, where Bond is just looking out at the burning his old house. It's very much kind of like
Or Dunkirk.
Or Dunkirk, yes. Where it feels very much like a Deakins inspired shot, where it's like that's something Deakins would do with like shadows and stuff like that.
It's the bartender. I guess like when he holds the bat, you can see like bandages on his hand. And
Oh,
it's supposed to suggest that like he got in a fight with the dog.
okay.
Bastard.
Yeah, that ending scene is wonderful. Except that is a wonderfully kind of like dynamic scene where you know that the ending is inevitable. You can just kind of see it. You can read it in the air that he's gonna.
I just
deserve
love
it.
the line where he's like, did you cry when your dog died? And he's like, yeah, I did. And he's like, did you cry during the sex abuse scandal? He's like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I didn't. And he goes, why didn't you? And he goes, well, I guess I didn't really seem like it applied to me. And that's when Chris O'Dowd loses it and shoots him in the stomach. It's such like, because you think of this like the horrible acts of the sex scandal. You think of like the thing, like the actual abuse. You don't think of the passivity in which some people, not even just like the like I remember like the detective guy says, oh, I found a priest in Dublin doing like bad things, and then the archbishop just sent him to Africa so he could do those things without being worried about it. But then like you get like that's a bad thing obviously, but then like the indifference or like the passivity or like that doesn't apply to me sort of mentality that Brendan Gleeson had, that whole thing, like he doesn't realize how bad it is until that moment.
Yeah,
when he's confronted with it, and it's really interesting. So you're like it just hits you really hard.
It's also one of those things where it's a realistic situation where you understand you understand both perspectives, because I feel like any of us can say a horrible thing has happened in the world and we can understand how horrible it is. Yeah. We don't necessarily grieve for it. Yeah. But you guys, I don't have a dog, but you two have dogs. Mm. And if your dog died like that, you would grieve for it because it's directly connected to you. And that's where that wonderful contrast
I do a lot more than grieve.
Yeah.
I would hunt down that person.
But it's just.
And I make him watch Blue Velvet.
No, a fate worse than death. But yeah, it's a wonderful because Jack, Chris O'Dowd's character, views Priest as kind of one entity, and the fact that Brendan Gleeson's here and kind of fighting that opinion that we're all not one entity.
Yeah.
That and it's the whole idea: a good priest he wants to kill a good priest because it makes an impact. It's
Yeah.
that wonderful contrast, and I wish there was more of that kind of like level of interaction in the movie. It's not necessarily fault in the movie, but there's like you can just feel kind of the weight behind the words, and I really, really enjoyed that.
Did you feel similar, Mark?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely felt similar. I don't know if I wanted like more of that. I guess. I mean, I feel this movie is very satisfying. I don't feel like there's any loose thread or anything I felt like I was missing out on. But this is a movie that really makes you think, regardless of what religious beliefs you hold.
Yeah.
It's like it really makes you think, and I really look forward to further viewings.
Yeah. Would you say like the last shot signifies like a happy ending, or like I'm thinking of the last shot with the daughter picking up the phone.
I don't know. I was really just thinking about that like 2 minutes ago, and I was like, how do I feel about that?
I
don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's in line with the theme of a movie, the theme of kind of forgiveness.
Yeah, because the last conversation they have, the daughter and Father James, he's like, "What do you think of?" I think he's like, I think virtues are an underrated teaching in the Bible, and he goes specifically like the virtue of forgiveness, and that's the last conversation that they have, and then the girl's name's Kelly, like the actress's name is something Kelly or so, and at the end she goes to visit Chris O'Dowd in prison, and I think that's supposed to be signified like some sort of attempt to start forgiving him or at least understand him. So I mean, I love that ending. I was getting I was getting emotional on my third time seeing it because it was just it's so beautiful because it's not preachy, it's not like over the top. I think it's brilliant. It's I think Martin McDonagh is a better filmmaker and better
100%.
writer, but I think that the emotions in this movie surpass anything that either brother has done.
I also like how that shot at the end was kind of a mirror. Domhnall Gleeson's in this movie, and he plays a
Domhnall.
Domhnall.
It's like Domhnall. I think that's like the Irish.
Domino with an L.
That's stupid.
Domhnall Gleeson.
Domino.
Mark, you said domino with an L, so I'm just gonna say him. He's Lomino. He's
Lomino.
Domhnall Gleeson plays a serial killer cannibal in the movie, and that's supposed to mirror kind of like the idea of remorse. I feel like that is supposed to mirror the end because you clearly, I think, in some way understand that Chris O'Dowd's character feels remorse for what he has done, but this is the only way he knows how to kind of mirror that. But then Domhnall Gleeson, it's kind of they talk, and it's kind of that question of remorse, and Father James is like, yeah, you don't feel remorse, and then leaves.
Yeah, but also he only goes because he thinks it's his duty. Because the police, the jailer's like, "Why are you going to go visit him?" He's like, "Well, they called for me. It's my duty as the priest of this area is to talk to anyone who's looking for forgiveness." And he kind of knows going into it that he's not going to get any further. And it's interesting for John Michael McDonagh to choose like a father-son, like a real life father-son relationship to be in the scene. So like, I thought that was pretty fascinating.
That was too. Do you guys have any low points? Anything you didn't like of the movie? Or Matt, are you kind of like, this is a flawless movie?
I would say like sometimes it feels a little slow, but I don't think it's like a handmaiden sort of masterpiece where like every scene is vitally important. But I'd say this is I'd still say this is like a really one of my favorite movies of the decade, obviously. So I'd say it's damn near a masterpiece.
My low point of the movie, we've already angrily discussed the shooting aspect of it. That's not necessarily a scene. I think anything with Leo 2-time or good time or whatever, I think just is so weird in the movie. I don't think it meshes.
He's doing his thing.
He's doing his thing.
He's got to make money.
He's got to make money. He's Leo good time. I can show you a good time, Father.
What are you thinking of his ass, Father?
I think that's probably the one scene whenever he's in, I'm like, I'm not into it. Mark, do you have any like low points of the movie?
I think my views more align closely with Matt.
Okay.
I definitely feel like
right side.
Probably, the right side. I definitely feel like some moments are slow.
Yeah.
Probably in the first act to 2 acts. But I can't exactly pinpoint a specific scene where I'm like, this is take this out.
All right.
I think
have
this is a great movie.
I just have one more talking point before Tyler can do his masturbatory quiz section.
Yeah.
Do you think that Martin McDonagh and John Michael McDonagh have two distinct voices, or do you think that their writing styles are more similar?
I want to. This might end up turning into a rant of war on everyone.
Okay, well try to save that for try
War,
to focus on the good of each director.
I have not seen In Bruges. I should admit that. It's a shame.
And don't spoil 3 Billboards because Mark hasn't seen it.
I will not spoil 3 Billboards. They each have their own distinct voice.
Yeah.
Michael McDonagh seems to focus more on kind of a realistic but absurdist character. The best way to put this is his stories. Michael McDonagh feel more American, and that's not like I'm trying to like separate the two, but his feel distinctly more tailored to American audiences.
Yeah.
John Michael McDonagh seems to have an unwavering voice for Ireland. That changes with War on Everyone, where that is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen. I hate that movie with all of my all of my kind of like, oh, I can't stand that movie. It's so pretentious. It's so bad. But his 2 great movies, Mark just disappeared.
Yeah.
The Guard in Calvary.
Goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye, Mark.
Hey, Willow.
His definitely feel more tailored to Ireland and kind of the Irish struggle, or not really, but kind of life in Ireland.
And you would know because you went to the airport in Dublin.
Yeah, I was in Dublin for 30 seconds. Yeah, I know all about Ireland.
I would agree with you for the most part. Yeah, I would agree with you pretty much 100%. It's funny because I think Calvary and The Guard have more in common with Martin McDonagh's plays, his early plays, because he did his first trilogy when he was in his 20s writing plays was the Lenane trilogy, which is all about
Michael
Western.
McDonagh, right?
This is Martin McDonagh.
Martin McDonagh.
The brother of John Michael McDonagh.
Yeah.
And he did the Lenane trilogy, which is Lonesome West and the Beauty Queen of Lenane and one other one, and it's all about like stupid priests that don't know anything, and like kind of the stereotype for people out west are that they are not as intelligent as people from the city, so they're kind of like playing off of that stuff as well with their like strong accents and stuff. So I would say like movie wise, John Michael McDonagh and Martin McDonagh are very dissimilar. And Martin McDonagh has more of a Tarantino style than I think that.
100%. Seven Psychopaths is a Tarantino light movie.
Yeah. And then, John Michael McDonagh seems more obsessed with Irish, culture in his films, whereas I think that Irish culture is more prevalent in Martin McDonagh's plays. So, I'd agree with you. Mark, what do you think? I mean, you've only seen one John Michael McDonagh thing, and that was 5 minutes ago, so I don't know how much you can speak on this.
And I've only seen In Bruges.
You've only seen In Bruges?
You haven't seen Seven Psychopaths? I thought you did.
I haven't seen it.
It's on Amazon Prime.
You gotta watch. We gotta read every single Martin McDonagh play. And
yay! I gotta go.
Calvary and In Bruges definitely feel very similar to me. I would have, if I hadn't known who directed Calvary, I would have been like, "Is this Martin McDonagh?" I wasn't. It feels. I'd say the character in Calvary, the one in the church, the kid who's going to go to the army, Milo. I felt like this could have been Colin Farrell if he was 15 years younger.
Was that the kid from? Was that the?
It felt like Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Was that the kid from Killing of the Sacred Deer?
No.
Barry.
No, it's not.
No.
How dare you?
You idiot.
Oh my God! They look the same. They both have that
bowl
cut. They're
Just
both
shut up.
Dark
Just
hair.
Move on.
Cut.
Just be quiet.
Mark, have you seen Killing of a Sacred Deer?
Of course I have.
Oh damn it, he has. Crap.
Idiot.
I'm gonna go make some spaghetti meatballs.
Are we film frauds or are we film morons?
I'm the film moron here. Yeah, that's right. All right, are you guys ready for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else to say.
Tyler
is reading. Are you guys ready for the guessing game or guessing game? All right. I have two things. What movie is subtly?
You did a lot of research.
No, there's not a lot of research. There's not a lot of information on this. Real quick, what's the box office and what was the budget of this movie?
Budget was $5 million, and it probably made $30 million.
Okay, Mark.
8 million? No, it's too high.
Who's
6
yeah.
million.
There's some pretty good shots.
Yeah.
Brendan Gleeson isn't cheap.
6 million, and it made 23 million.
Mark is closest this week. The budget was there's not a lot of reports on the budget, but I think I found one that says it was around 7 million. So Mark was closest, and it made 16.9 million. So Mark was closest. Wow. Mark won. Matt, you suck. What movie is referenced subtly in this movie?
Oh God, I know this. I don't remember, but I remember hearing that line.
Mark,
In what sense is it referenced?
It's something that happens in one of the movies it's referencing is on a newspaper.
Is it? I saw the 2 Hitmen newspaper thing. I don't know what that was. That in Bruges?
Yeah, that's in Bruges.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
It's on. It's
I don't
according
feel
to
like
IMDb trivia, it's true, and we know they're right 100%.
Well, yeah.
Well, I think it said 2 Hitmen wanted, but they both. I
haven't seen it, Bruce. Shut up.
Yeah, let's not spoil anything.
How many?
It's funny that there's actually a weird comparison between the two because and there's a deleted scene in Bruges because the whole basis of the movie is that Colin Farrell assassinates a priest, and that's why they're in Bruges.
Oh,
and it's not a spoiler because that's why he's there.
Yeah.
And then later on, Brendan Gleeson's like, do you know why they want him assassinated? This is a deleted scene, I think. And he goes, oh, probably because he did something bad to a kid. He goes, no, it's because whatever the main hitman's name is, the boss, because they were having
Ralph Fiennes.
What? Yeah, Ralph Fiennes' character. They were having a
Ralph Fiennes in this movie.
Yeah, in land,
okay.
He wanted to move his company onto land that the priest owned. And
Oh.
the priest that was on church property, and that's why he wanted him assassinated.
Okay.
So that's funny.
Well, in Bruce's reference, how many sporting characters are in this movie? Has a religious theme.
I was trying to count. I don't know if you
7.
guys saw me earlier, but I was going like this.
Yeah.
I was trying to see. Is there 7? Is this 7 deadly sins?
12. For the 12 disciples. The 12 apostles, 12 disciples.
The 12 disciples.
It said 12 disciples on IMDb trivia. I trust them. I actually have 2 questions. I looked up who was nominated for Best Actor and what was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, because I think this movie deserves a Best Actor nomination and a Best Original Screenplay nomination. Yeah. Here are the nominees for Best Actors 2015, and we can talk about if someone deserved to be voted on or not. Michael Keaton for Birdman.
Okay.
Eddie Redmayne for Theory of Everything.
Danish Girl? Oh.
I didn't write down the movies I should have. Benedict Cumberbatch for The Imitation Game. Bradley Cooper for American Sniper. And Steve Carell for Foxcatcher. Does Brendan Gleeson should he have gotten a nomination?
Who is this?
Of course.
Yeah, replace Benedict Cumberbatch.
What about Bradley Cooper for American Sniper? That movie's not great, and he's not great in it.
That movie's very misunderstood. That movie was like idiots think it's a rah American movie. No, Clint Eastwood portrayed war as being horrible in that movie.
Okay.
I always remember talking to people and they're like, oh, I just loved American Sniper, good for the U.S. And it's no, it's awful. Okay. I mean, they idealize Chris Kyle a lot, but with war itself, I feel like Clint Eastwood was new to make it look horrible. I just think that
we're not talking about the movie; we're talking about the performances. I think Benedict Cumberbatch's really good in Imitation Game. I think Mark, you and I saw.
I haven't seen Imitation Games.
I didn't watch it with you.
I've seen it. I saw it with someone.
How disgusted he sounds. It was with you.
What are you talking about?
I would kick off Bradley Cooper for American Sniper.
Yeah, just kick him off, whatever.
I saw as American Sniper in theaters, and I don't remember anything.
Okay. Bradley Cooper, you're gone. You don't win anyways. Best Original Screenplay. Birdman. I already know which one. I'm already waiting for this answer. I wrote it last. Birdman, Foxcatcher, Nightcrawler, Grand Budapest Hotel, and Boyhood.
Well, I mean, just to start off, I think Nightcrawler has a terrible screenplay.
What?
Yeah, it's awful.
No, it's not.
Every scene in that movie is like, whoa, Jake Gyllenhaal, you're a weird guy. He goes, I'm a weird guy. He goes, you're gonna do some bad things. I'm gonna do some bad things. If you rewatch that movie, there's every single scene of Nightcrawler.
I might rewatch that movie now. I'm really curious.
Yeah. I'm gonna go watch Velvet Buzzsaw.
That will literally be the whole movie.
Do you guys think this is?
But yeah, Boyhood's terrible. Though, yeah, that's easily, without a question.
So
Calvary should have replaced Boyhood.
I have a crap. I looked up Best Director because I was curious. I already know which ones can be voted off. Wes Anderson.
Boyhood, whatever that idiot's
It's Richard Linklater. Should we even continue? It's going to be Richard Linklater.
It doesn't matter at this point.
Some guy.
The genius who sloppily edited 7 years worth of
Did you
footage into
know-
a 3-hour long movie.
Did you know Richard Linklater, I think, is making a movie that is going to take 20 years to make?
Who cares? He's gonna
I
be
know.
dead by that point. No one.
I'm
cares.
gonna look it up.
Sounds like something James Cameron would do.
Real quick, best director.
Yeah, is it Avatar 3?
Shut up.
Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5 are filming right now. I mean, they've been filmed.
I want to look this movie.
He's just yelling at recent college grads who are like VFX artists. He's like, I need you to animate the purple alien PP.
He's
Do
waiting
it.
for his friend Bill Paxton to show up on set.
Oh my god.
Oh, come on.
Oh my. This movie is called Merrily
Outta
We
here.
Roll Along.
I love Bill Paxton. I'm sorry.
Okay, I just want to throw this out there. The Richard Linklater movie is called Merrily We Roll Along, and we'll film over the course of 20 years, and the movie will release sometime in 2040. I hope I'm dead by then. So that's that. That's the guessing game. It's not really. There wasn't a lot of
Yay.
trivia on it.
So final grades.
Grades.
Mark, what do you give?
I
Calvary.
really enjoyed this movie, and I can't wait to watch it again. I will give it an A, a solid A.
Wow, could this movie make the honor roll?
Wow.
Tyler.
No, it's the Hall of Fame.
Whatever.
We're so professional. I'm gonna give this movie an A. I think
Were you gonna
there
give
was
it an A before Mark gave it an A?
I was gonna give it an A.
Okay.
I really love this movie.
Yeah.
It's also probably the only John Michael McDonough movie that doesn't have pacing issues. I didn't think this movie was slow at any point. I thought it was just kind of riveting from start to finish. I understand. I don't think my issues with the final part of the movie or Leo Goodtime or Milo take away enough of this movie to knock it down anything lower than an A. I think it's a wonderful study. It's a wonderful character study movie. Has excellent performances, excellent directing. The score is a little weak, but I mean I don't think it takes away enough of the movie. It's kind of like just passable, unmemorable. So I can't really.
He was
fault
mad
it.
because he couldn't find Leo Goodtime's phone number.
Good. I looked up IMDb. I messaged him on Instagram. I was like, "Hey, what you
Yeah.
doing tonight, Leo? Good time."
He goes, "What do you mean? Where's your accent?" He's like, "I'm just an actor."
I'm
That
just
was
an
the
actor.
character I was
I'm like,
playing.
"No,
You fraud.
I'll pay you." Get on the accent. Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie an A.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it an A as well.
So for the
what?
Film Frauds Hall of Fame, basically,
Yeah, we should have,
if
we should have a theme song.
No, we have to discuss it. We have to discuss it. It's professional. We also have to the Film Frauds Hall of Fame. Basically, if we all give a movie an A, we discuss if it deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But it doesn't necessarily. We might not. Does this deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? We have to be professional, Matt.
I'd say yes.
Yes.
I'd say yes.
You know, I'm gonna say yes too. We did it. Calvary is in the Hall of Fame. I'm so proud of it. Woo! Matt, is
Michael
this,
McDonough is very happy.
yeah.
John Michael McDonough is really happy.
We'll send him this, and he'll get mad at us. So
Yeah.
um,
He'll go, "What? You like warn everyone?"
what? All right. What we've been watching, we haven't talked recently. In the span of the last like 4 days, we've talked. I've only seen like 8 movies.
Only 8 movies.
Only-
Wow.
What have you guys been watching? Matt, what have you been watching?
I watched Force Majeure. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right.
Oh, the French movie on Hulu?
It's a Norwegian movie.
Is it Norwegian?
Filmed in the French Alps by a Swedish director.
Uh,
It's just like it's a movie about a family that goes on a ski trip, and then they're eating lunch one day outside, and like an avalanche comes for like the hotel they're on.
Yep.
And then the father's first reaction is to run for his life and not save his family.
Yep.
And then it ends up being a controlled avalanche, so it wasn't going to cause any damage. But this is dealing with like the psychological issues of like him not being like the man of the family, and he's trying to deny the fact that it even happened.
Yep.
And I liked it. I thought it was a little long and a little like meandering.
Yep.
But I'd say like it has some good social issues. Like it deals a lot with like masculinity and like the guy's role in a family, and how like when you're not able to fill that masculine like role, how it kind of destroys someone, and also like the fragility of life, how like literally at any moment like you could just die, and what will be your reaction when real danger comes. So it raises some good questions. It just was a little long. It was 2 hours, and to be as long as it was.
Okay. It was
I also-
remade into an American version.
Yeah, with Will Ferrell. I didn't see that. It's probably not as like. It's probably more of a comedy. Like this movie, I thought would be more funny than it was.
Yep.
It's more
Okay.
like a serious drama, but I'm sure like the American one will probably be more like comedy based.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just like guessing based on the actors that are in it. I also saw The Guard.
Yeah.
Loved it. Well, you already kind of talked about it a bit, but yeah, it's a really good movie. I'd say if you liked Calvary, if you like Martin McDonagh's films as well, if you like Irish stuff in general, you like The Guard. I finished Cowboy Bebop, the anime series, and it's great. Really, really good. Really like the jazz music. And they have some really good action scenes. And I'd say, like, as someone who doesn't like anime at all, I really enjoy Cowboy Bebop. So if you don't like anime and you think this looks interesting, give it a try. Anche 3 giorni fa ho visto un buon film, si chiama La notte, direttore da Michelangelo Antonioni, chi anche ha fatto L'Avventura.
Are you done?
No.
Okay. Come on, you can do it. What did that?
Mi piace La notte. Sebbene L'Avventura è un film migliore, io preferisco La notte perché è più rapido, è più semplice. E penso che ti piacerebbe se ti
No
piace,
one knows what you're saying.
Se ti piace film di postmodernismo o esistenziale.
All right, Mark, what have you been watching? I'm very proud of you.
I was waiting for that for so long.
It seemed like you really worked hard on that, and I just want to say I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I'm not proud. I don't know. You, for all I know, you're speaking gibberish.
Did you watch the movie La Ventura?
See.
Okay.
That watched a while ago.
I heard that, and then I was like, oh. Mark, what have you been watching recently?
I said that it's a good movie, and it's like La Ventura, but I like La Notte a little bit better.
Okay. Don't care.
So
there's some jealousy here. I thought you guys would be proud of me that I like worked so hard on this.
We should have let us know. All of a sudden, you're just like, oh, Matt had a stroke.
It's deep conceited jealousy because we can't speak Italian.
Yeah. My accent's terrible. Like I know I sounded awful, but I just wanted to do it.
No, I'm impressed. Like it didn't sound rehearsed at all. So I'm actually being genuine.
It wasn't rehearsed.
Yeah. Well, all right, Mark. Save this podcast. What have you been watching?
So Matt, you're gonna pick on me. Probably. Is I watched John Cassavetes' the second film in the Criterion box, Faces. It was good for the time that I was awake.
Wait, what?
Mark fell asleep watching a movie.
Oh.
It was, and I really enjoyed it up until the point where I was passed out.
Do you think Mark woke up in the morning?
4.5 out of 5 stars.
I like to think Mark
best
woke
nap
up,
in my life.
The projector's off, and he just opens a book and just writes 4.5, and then passes out again. He's like, "All right."
He looks at Roger Ebert's review. He's like, "Star grading me."
That's exactly how I feel. Good job, Roger. But yeah, it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I got like an hour and 40 minutes in, and I was like, just so tired from working all day. And
did you fall asleep in your bed, or did you like slump over in a chair?
I fell asleep in my bed. I was just like. So I watched 3/4 of a movie that I really enjoyed. So I'll have to go back at some point.
Okay.
Then I watched Broadcast News last night. I think I have one small problem with that movie. One teeny little problem. But other than that, it's a masterpiece.
He fell asleep during it. That's his problem.
I fell asleep during it. No. It's a movie where I know you guys haven't seen it, but there's the music cues like, oh, this is how I need to feel now. You know? Okay. I really hate it when a movie does that. It's like, you know, oh, here's something sad happening. Here's some sad music just to make you remember that this is how you should feel. And I really don't like it when a movie does that. But other than that, I love that movie. I love it so much. Okay. It's a movie about journalistic integrity, and there's also the Sidney Lumet film Network, which is about journalistic corruption.
I thought it was Sidney Lumet.
I made a mistake the first time I pronounced it. I thought that it was.
I'm going after Mark today.
With a silent T. Fuck you.
Man, I guess I knew who the film fraud is here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Broadcast News
Network. One movie in my whole life, and that was The Game, the adventure movie.
You don't like that movie?
No, I hated it.
Oh, I think it's like an underrated Fincher movie. I think it's kind of
You're
fun.
stupid.
So, Mark, broadcast news. Mark also threw out the controversial opinion that I think Matt and I both disagreed with, that Holly Hunter is his 80s movie actress crush.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Holly
Mine
Hunter
is-
in broadcast news like that.
I don't know. Matt's a Sigourney Weaver
Dream
fan.
woman.
I'm a Meg Ryan fan. From When Harry Met
Plain
Sally.
Tyler likes plain women.
No, fat hair, and that's great. Mark, so
Hey, you don't know Meg Ryan.
Yeah, you know. I'm sorry. What was I gonna say? So you watch broadcast news and 3/4 of a movie I already forgot the name of.
Yeah, and then I wasn't watching a lot of movies this week because I was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Okay.
I started it last Sunday and I finished it 2 days ago. It's like 500 pages. I couldn't put it down. I didn't know anything about Malcolm
Stuck
X.
to your hand?
I glued it to my hand, and it was magically bound to my hand unless I finished it. So,
Okay.
You finished it?
yeah, I finished it. I just went like this. I went, then I was.
Then you fell asleep.
It's the most unprofessional podcast yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm gonna probably watch
I
the
like
Spike
to think that Mark watches a movie that has like a 5 out of 5 stars out of 5 stars from Roger Ebert, and he falls asleep in the first 10 minutes, and he wakes up to see the credits roll, and he goes,
Yes. He sheds a tear. He's like, "This is
That's-
beautiful."
I think the only time I ever I watched a film that Roger Ebert gave 4 out of 4 stars, and I finished it and I was so confused. Partially was 8.5 by Federico Fellini. That is a film you should not watch first when you go into Fellini's filmography. I'm talking to you, Matt, because I know
yeah.
you're an Italian.
yeah, well, when you're
films.
fluent in Italian like I am.
I want to watch Knights of Cabiria, and then La Dolce Vita.
I haven't seen La Dolce Pizza. Have you seen La Ventura?
No,
Matt just
no,
did
but
an entire
that's
speech on it.
that's
Yeah, I did the speech
that's
on La Notte.
Oh, sorry.
that's on the Criterion Channel. It's on my
Yeah.
watch
Have you
list,
seen La
and
Notte?
also no. I know that
Peasant.
Roger Ebert gave La Ventura 4
5
out
out
of
of
4.
5 stars. He said like the first time he watched
It's not
it,
5. It's not 5.
or whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's still the same grade technically.
No,
And
it's not.
he said that he didn't like it when he first saw it, but then like after years of watching it, he finally learned to love it, or something like that.
That's gonna be you and
Roger
Blue
Ebert
Velvet.
also gave our Insomnia, the Nolan one, 3.5 out of 4 stars. And
Did he get a 3.5 out of 4 stars?
I want to double check just so I don't.
He did.
Yeah, you don't
he
want to
did.
like slander his
He did.
name. by giving
I'm
that
pretty
movie.
sure. What's his name? I think Siskel might have like shit on the movie.
Yeah.
But I just want to double check. I gotta make sure. 2002.
Well, Siskel likes Blue Velvet, so I gotta take
Yeah.
his opinion with a grain of salt. He could be paid off. You don't know.
Oh, my phone's not loading. Oh, my phone just died and crashed.
Well, you have a virus.
We've been
Oh.
saved.
What just
It's,
happened? My
uh,
phone-
it's Johnny Good Time.
No, he can't get in contact with me anymore.
Um,
I don't even know what all my information was. That what was I gonna say? Oh, Mark, you started reading Antkind.
I'm 60 pages, 60
It's
something
back.
pages into this.
Mm.
Kind, Charlie Kaufman. If you're a Charlie Kaufman fan, this is the book for you because every single page is just Charlie Kaufman's just being Charlie Kaufman, and I'm really glad that it's 700 pages. That's all I gotta say. So that's what I've been up to.
My phone's just not letting me load the review. It doesn't. I don't know what's going on.
Tyler, remember when I sent you literally 1,000 emojis and I crashed your phone for like 2 days?
You broke my iPhone 4 in like 2012 and
Yeah.
destroyed it. All
Good
right,
times.
I got some movies. I watched Drive.
Something about you.
I love Drive. Drive is one of those movies that reminds me why I love watching movies. 3.5 out of 5. What the hell? Drive is
Well,
just
wait. You know who likes Drive?
who?
A little too much?
Who?
Chris Stuckman.
Yes, he does.
You want to
I
be
might join
associated
him,
with
though.
that fella?
That was
Yeah.
the coolest movie ever. I love it. I've watched it 3 times. It's one of my
What he
favorite
meant
movies
was
of the
Ryan
decade.
Gosling's the hottest guy ever.
A little bit. He's really cool in that. I watched.
He likes La La Land.
He does like La La Land. No, I
Oh,
like
you
La La
like
Land. I hope he does too, considering he's in it. I watched The Guard,
This-
like Matt said. I watched Spider-Man: Homecoming. It's not as bad as I remember. It's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, you're a Marvel hack.
I am a Marvel hack. I watched that.
It's
It's
on
not bad.
Collider.
Shut up. I watched
They
War on...
need people.
Shut up. I watched War on Everyone, which is the biggest, said earlier, piece of shit.
It's awful.
I laughed once in the movie, and that's when Michael Pena and Alexander Skarsgård are about to fight a jockey, and Alexander Skarsgård is like 6'5", and to like chase after the jockey, like flaps his wings like a bird, and I laughed a little bit at that because Alexander Skarsgård, they don't know how to frame him in the movie, so he's just hunched over, like flapping like this, running after a jockey, and it was to the point where we were like 45 minutes into the movie, and I wanted to die. It was just so absurd. I laughed at that. I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That movie is amazing. I watched Skyfall, which is probably the best James Bond movie that will ever come out. I don't know how they do better than Skyfall. Yeah. And I rewatched Frances Ha, and Frances Ha is even better the second time around. It feels like a love letter to Greta Gerwig and a love letter to New York, and I really, really adored it. I watched a lot of good movies this week. This was a fun time.
You're just the coolest.
I am. Thank you, Matt.
On opposite day.
Oh, no. Matt, what's our call to action? What do we got? What do we get planned?
Remember to like, episode? Comment your favorite film fraud, as long as it's me, and subscribe to Film Frauds because we need subscribers. And then stay tuned for next week or next episode because, well, first we're going to be doing our best of July, what we've been reading, watching, and playing, all different forms of entertainment media. And then we're going back to some good movies because it's still on my recommendations. We're doing part of my director series, the first episode of my director series, which is on Park Chan-wook, the South Korean director, and we are doing his most famous film, Old Boy. So stay tuned for that. And if you like more Park Chan-wook, we'll be doing more of his movies in 3 years.
When we get back to
it's my turn again.
We also do I get to say my recommendation?
Why?
Not why? Why?
Because I'm next in line, right?
No, I'm next in line with my director's choice.
No. I mean for just a regular film.
Yeah,
right. But I'll say that in the next review.
We have our July recommendations. We have Old Boy. We probably have to. We're gonna watch Train to Busan Peninsula. We're probably gonna have to watch that terrible Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt Netflix movie. There's this movie coming out called The American Pickle with Seth Rogen. We got a lot of movies to cover, Mark. You're a long ways to go. So sit back.
Can I announce to our loyal fan base what I'm going to select in the next month or 2 months?
If anyone makes it this long, Mark is no longer allowed to be voted as your favorite film fraud.
The Third Man. People know what I'm talking about. We're going to watch The Third Man and we're going to discuss it.
Hold
on. No, the 1949 film by Carol Reed.
Oh my God, another old movie.
How long?
I should say, you guys should watch Citizen Kane before this.
Oh my God! Wait, Matt,
come on! I have to be the token.
It's only 3 hours. Come on.
It's an hour and 48.
Oh, okay,
it's not bad.
Yeah, but you gotta watch Citizen Kane as well. So.
Is this by that guy who did Citizen Kane?
No, but you need to acquaint yourself with Orson Welles.
But it was on by Orson Welles, and why do I care?
You should care because it's Orson Welles.
But did Orson Welles make this Third Man movie too?
Just trust me, okay? Just trust me. Watch Citizen Kane.
If this is like bonus features on the Criterion DVD that makes everything make sense, then I'm not.
No. This is my personal philosophy.
Matt made a letterbox, and I follow him on there, and we follow each other. And do you want to know what he gave Night of the Hunter?
He gave it 1 star or some shit?
He gave it 2.
I just want to let you know.
Gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know that you are a fraud. You are a hack. You are a scumbag.
Well, at least I didn't fall asleep
you are
during
wrong.
All right, guys.
I stayed awake.
Before we throw fisticuffs, thank you guys for watching.
I can't wait until quarantine's over and we have to do this in person.
I'm gonna fight Matt. I'm gonna fight Matt, and we're gonna record it.
Like, hey, Mark, I haven't seen you for like 6 months.
Like, all right. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. I don't know what we're doing anymore.
Thank you for probably
one person who watches. Just unsubscribe and made it this far.
Do.
Doesn't matter.
If you made it this far, we love you. But you have to vote for me because I gave Calvary an A. All right, this is Film Frauds.
Calvary
Goodbye.